This is my story about a place that I visit when I need to find inspiration. I started visiting New York City in 2016 when I found myself asking, what am I going to do next? My kids were grown, check. I had completed my degree, check. And I had a job that paid the bills, check. I loved the city so much that I have returned every year since. First, a few housekeeping items. Don't worry too much about what you're going to wear, it really doesn't matter. There's such a variety of people and trends in New York. But please trust me when I say bring comfortable shoes. A full day in New York City equals to about 10 miles of walking, easy. It was the most exercise I'd had in years, and I didn't even really realize I was exercising. Two, traveling. The first time that I went to New York City, my daughter and I took the train. You see, I don't particularly like to fly. While we were excited for the adventure, it took about 22 hours to get there. This compared to the 90-minute flight out of General Mitchell Field. Let me tell you, I've learned to like to fly. Three, there are just a ton of people on the street. When walking, you need to go with the flow, or you're going to need to step aside. On the upside, to be part of all of this busyness while no one really notices your existence is something that I've come to really appreciate about New York. You don't have to live up to any expectation. Everyone is welcome. That gives you a sense of freedom. Four, getting around the city. My favorite mode of transportation is the subway. It's just the fastest way to get around. If you plan on being in the city for 3 or more days, I would highly recommend getting a 1-week unlimited ride Metro card. It is good on the subway, city buses, and the Roosevelt Island Air Tram. And this pass will only cost you $31. Five, don't let anyone scare you about all the dangers of New York City. Some of my friends and family provided warnings as if I was going to be dropped in the middle of a war zone. On my first subway ride, I didn't know if I was going to come up to a trendy neighborhood or walk right onto a murder scene. New York was not any more or less scary than the city of Milwaukee. Moving on to places of inspiration. Central Park is smack dab in the middle of Manhattan. It is 2.5 miles long and a half a mile wide. It'll be the most green space that you'll see in Manhattan. Some things to see include the Central Park Zoo, Belvedere's Castle, which serves as a weather station, and Strawberry Fields, a memorial to the late John Lennon. Being that I recently completed my business degree, and my daughter was a finance major at the time, it only seemed fitting that we pay homage to the financial district. Say what you will about Wall Street, but how could one not be inspired by the ornate architecture of the New York Stock Exchange? It really is just beautiful. Another must-see is Times Square, home of the New Year's Eve ball drop. When people ask me what I think of Times Square, I simply say, think of New York as a state fair. Times Square, then, would be the midway. It is bright, it is crowded, it's a little seedy, and it's full of a whole lot of excitement. A walk across the Brooklyn Bridge is something that I recommend everyone take. It connects the borough of Manhattan to the borough of Brooklyn. You can also get fantastic shots of the Manhattan skyline and stand in awe of all the majestic New York skyscrapers. Once on the other side of the bridge, you may be a bit hungry. Well, let me tell you, you are in luck. Brooklyn is home to the original Junior's restaurant. Junior's is a diner known for its deli sandwiches, steak burgers, and other comfort food favorites. They are also famous for their cheesecake. It is just phenomenal. Plus, all meals come with an old-fashioned relish tray. I promise you, you will not leave hungry. There is a great deal of inspiration you can find from the arts, and New York City has it all. Broadway shows, comedy clubs, improv theaters, and let's not forget all the fabulous street performers. There's plenty of great entertainment, even on the smallest of budgets. I have a rule on street performers. If a street performer catches your attention and you've stopped to watch the show, then you are obligated to throw cash in the hat. One afternoon, we took the tram over to Roosevelt Island. It was really neat to see the city streets from above. Roosevelt Island is a tranquil island owned by the city. On the island is Cornell University's Graduate Technical Institute, residential apartments, and a memorial to President Roosevelt. You will also find the ruins of a smallpox hospital. The island has a green past, once known as Blackwell's Island and Welfare Island for the hospital serving the indigent, its prison, and its insane asylum. Reporter Nellie Bly went undercover as a mentally ill patient to expose the deplorable conditions of the asylum in her 1887 book, 10 Days in a Madhouse. Her book led to an investigation and increased funding for the mental hospital. History provides an opportunity for backward reflection. The Statue of Liberty is an iconic reminder of what it means to be an American. In the pedestal of the statue is a museum that tells the story of the statue and holds Lady Liberty's original torch, which after being badly damaged by weather was replaced in 1984. Also included in the Liberty Island tour is a tour of Ellis Island. During the tour, you can hear firsthand accounts of the treacherous travels many endured just for the chance of a better life. You will also learn of the inspection process each immigrant needed to pass before gaining access into America. Whether it's sacrificing all that you have for a better life or rebuilding after a heinous attack, one thing is certain: Americans are resilient, and the rebuilding of the One World Trade Center is evidence of this. Reflecting pools now represent where the Twin Towers once stood, and the names of those who perished on 9/11 will live forever engraved on the rims of the pools. In the 9/11 Memorial Museum, the quote, "No day shall erase you from the memory of time." It is surrounded by tiles that portray the shades of blue that people describe the sky as looking on September 11th. There is one tile for every victim of the attack. What inspires me most about this day and the days that followed is how people came together at a time when it felt like everything was falling apart. The Oculus, which is the new World Trade Center transportation hub, represents rebirth. Just as a phoenix rises from the ashes, so will Ground Zero. If this sculpture looks familiar to Milwaukeeans, it should. It was sculpted by Santiago Calatrava, the same artist that sculpted the Quadracci Pavilion at the Milwaukee Art Museum. Everybody needs a place to get inspired, a place that will help change your perspective. Mine happens to be New York City. Yours may be somewhere else. The point is, find that place, the place that helps you regroup and recharge. Find it and visit it often. Thank you.